Dr. Sterz, you worked as the chief toxicologist for Pfizer Europe. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I was responsible there for all animal experiments related to drug safety.
Thank you. My questions concern Comirnaty from Pfizer-BioNTech. You have dealt extensively with the approval of this vaccine and the documentation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Was the carcinogenicity of this vaccine tested prior to approval?
No, the carcinogenic risk was not investigated due to time constraints. By the way, I find it very worrying and also regrettable that no alternative studies were conducted.
We are observing in Germany, but also in many other countries, that the birth rate plummeted following the vaccination campaign.
Yes, you are referring to studies concerning reproduction. A study on rats using Comirnaty was inadequately conducted. Consequently, no reliable assessments of the vaccine's effect on pregnancy or the development of offspring were possible. Nothing had been learned from the thalidomide disaster. According to the RKI protocol, approval was granted in a fast-track procedure. This meant that essential toxicity studies were sacrificed for the sake of speed, without acceptable justification. I know of no case with a comparable indication in which all these studies were omitted. Thus, the approval led to prohibited human trials.
So the RKI had noted internally at the time that side effects and vaccine-related injuries were only to be investigated after the product had been launched. What came of that?
Pfizer's post-marketing report mentioned over 1,200 suspected deaths within just 2 months of approval. Comirnaty should have been withdrawn from the market by then, at the latest. If I am correctly informed, the Paul-Ehrlich Institute has received 2,133 reports of deaths following Comirnaty to date. With these spontaneous reports, there is a high number of unreported cases due to underreporting. The actual number is therefore much higher. In the US, an underreporting factor of 30 is assumed, by which the registered cases should be multiplied. For Germany, that would correspond to 60,000 deaths caused by the vaccine.
60,000. So the federal government is withholding the important SafeVac and KV data on vaccination injuries, and the majority of this commission has even refused to request this data. Could vaccine injuries and deaths have been avoided with approval compliant with the regulations?
Yes, because Comirnaty should not have been approved at all under the regulations.
Currently, many vaccine-injured individuals in Germany are fighting for compensation for pain and suffering. They often lose because the courts say Comirnaty has a positive risk-benefit ratio. Is this assumption justified?
In my view, absolutely not. Comirnaty was not tested at all during clinical development for the prevention of severe illness or deaths. Pfizer documents therefore do not indicate a positive risk-benefit ratio at all. Mathematician Robert Rockefeller from the University of Koblenz estimates that for every severe case of COVID-19 that Comirnaty allegedly prevents, there are 25 severe side effects.
Okay, did age-adjusted mortality in Germany decline after the start of this vaccination campaign?
No, mortality rose significantly from 2021 to 2022 compared to 2020. If there had been a positive risk-benefit ratio, mortality should have declined when the vaccine became available in early 2021.
That makes sense. Did the population receive the active ingredient during the vaccination campaign that Pfizer tested in the shortened emergency approval process?
No. A highly purified substance was used for the clinical trial before approval. It was too expensive for mass production. The public received a vaccine produced using the Escherichia coli bacterium. The result is significant contamination with bacterial DNA, and the consequence could be a heavily increased risk of cancer.
Thank you very much.